Hey guys, happy Foodie Friday and welcome back. For those of you who have been following along, if you're new to 48 Blocks Fine Candy Foodie Friday, welcome. I'm glad you've joined us. Take a look on the channel. You can see some other topics that we've talked about previously, and you can always recommend a topic if there's something that you are interested in that goes on with the process of candy and making candy, or like last week, my viewers indulged me in a little deep dive into the economics of candy and the impact that small candy manufacturers and the candy industry has, on a whole, has on federal, state, and local economics. I'm always happy to kind of go into my nerd mode with that, and thanks for the feedback. I appreciate it. If you'd like more like that, please let me know down in the comments below. This week we're back on track with candy, specifically R&D, research and development. A lot of that goes on. Even the large-scale candy manufacturers have research going on. They're developing new products, and then they have a quality assurance department that makes sure that everything they're putting out is repeatable and has same flavor, same texture, same mouthfeel. You don't want to buy a Snickers bar one place and have it be different, like at every place that you buy it, for example. With 48 Blocks, I'm trying to do the same thing. We certainly did it with Marshmallow MBA, but because that was a single product, the R&D was a little different. In this, because we're expanding out into other candy products, again, research and development is a little different. So, with that said, I gave you a little teaser on the social medias. That's nice. Is that like the internets? How old am I, for God's sake? Anyway, little teaser on Facebook and Instagram about what new product I've been working on. And it's been a couple weeks on this. I have been interested in it for a long time, but it didn't quite fit in the previous company model. It does fit in the 48 Blocks model. So, on my mother's very fancy wedding china, because, the color was beautiful and it's kind of dreary out, here is the first peek at our new product, Pate. Okay, that's the fancy name. People call them fruit gems. People call them fruit gelee, also kind of fancy. So it's a fruit jelly, but it's a stiff jelly. You'll see here, I'm going to pick one of these up. These are a little soft, and this is why we're going to talk about R&D, because what happens? You see it's a little soft there. That's going to droop off my finger. I'm going to drop that back down there. Okay, so Pate. All these letters are silent in the name, and it sounds a lot like pâte fouille, which they use on the Great British Bake Off all the time. Whole different story. Anyway, let's, for the sake of our purposes and keeping it simple, these are fruit jellies, and they're made with organic fruit puree, a bunch of sugar, and and pectin. So, for our friends who are asking about, why don't you have vegan products? Well, I get this R&D right, and we'll have a vegan product. So let's talk a little bit about what goes into the research and development of a new product like this. First of all, you got to have a recipe. In this case, we are combining. I am combining a few recipes together to get the right feel. I like the flavor in these. It's really good. This happens to be raspberry. Flavor's really good. Texture is a little soft, so we're going to try holding them a little while longer. Even with the marshmallows, they had an 8-hour cure period. This will probably be closer to 12 to 24 hours, and a lot more sugar on the outside. Strictly granulated sugar in these. So we're looking at a couple recipes, combining a couple recipes to get this right. Sometimes when we were making marshmallows, they would end up like taffy. With the fruit gelée, I'm ending up with the opposite problem in that they are too soft. That used to happen with the bourbon marshmallows too, but that was when I poured with a heavy hand versus, oh yeah, you use the measuring spoons. Why can't I use the measuring cup? Use the measuring spoons. So with the fruit gelees, you play with pectin, which is kind of like a fruit gelatin. It is not gelatin, but it gives things the same consistency as gelatin does. So we have to play with that. We have to play with how much glucose syrup versus how much regular sugar goes in. That's going to affect how these candies feel in your mouth. It also affects how they taste, the freshness of the fruit, which is a real, it's a real differentiator. The difference between cooked fruit and the taste of fresh fruit. And so with this, we want to make sure that that fresh fruit flavor is coming through. If we're spending the money on an organic raw fruit puree, we want you to be able to taste it. So we have a supplier for that every recipe we've looked at, they've recommended this supplier, and it worked beautifully. It tastes beautifully. It's also, some of my favorite bartenders use it, so I trust it. It's good stuff. And they make about 18 or more different flavors. So that gives us opportunity to try different flavors. So for the last 2 weeks, I've been working with raspberry. I'm going to stick with working with raspberry until we get it absolutely right for just one flavor. And then it's a matter of tweaking it for other flavors, changing the amount of sugar, increasing or reducing depending on the product. Changing the cure time may have to happen. The other thing I'm noticing is all the recipes are written for standard burners like gas or electric, and with 48 blocks, I use induction burners, and they're a lot more efficient. So things go up to temperature really fast. And I have to make sure I'm using the right size pot for that. And then we want to make sure that I'm not over reducing things, because then it just turns into taffy. Funny enough, what I'm finding is that these fruit gelees or fruit fudge is a lot like making fudge, which I'm not good at. As you all know, if you've been following my story, I can't make fudge. So the fact that I can get these close after only 2 weeks, I'm pretty happy about. So in the midst of, playing in the kitchen, or what comes up as playing in the kitchen, there's a lot of documentation involved with R&D, because you want to make sure you're repeating the same formula. Or if you tweaked something, did you tweak it the right way? So handy notebooks everywhere, but one specifically in the kitchen to make sure when we're doing the recipes, I know what I tweaked, so I know what I don't have to tweak again, because I have those results, and then we document those results. So R&D goes on for every candy product. Some people don't love it. Some people just want the recipe and let me just make it. I like the R&D. I like being able to check the box. Yes, this works, and this is why it works, and I know why it works. I like having the data points to refer back to. Yes, it just ignore me. Sometimes the data matters. So if you think candy makers are just going in the kitchen, heating up some sugar, throwing it in a pan, cutting it up, and giving it to you, no. Here to tell you, not true. There's definitely work that goes into that candy, and there's work that goes into ensuring that the candy you get is the same every time you get it. So what's next? Well, next is, do you want to try it? I am continuing to add to the focus group. If you are interested in being part of the 48 Blocks focus group. What the hell's a focus group? Sorry. You can take the girl out of consulting, but you can't always take, you know how that goes. So what I'm looking for is folks who are willing to try products before they hit the market. Just because I love it doesn't mean the general public's going to love it. So you want a sneak peek? You want to try it? In the comments below, I'll need it might be better if you email me because I need a little bit of information from you. So if you will email me at info@48blocksfinecandy.com. I need your name. Simple, right? So let's start with your name, email address, and then mailing address, actual mailing address, because how else am I going to get you the candy? And then I will send you a confirmation that I received your interest, number one, and two, a link to a form. I'll let you know when your candy's coming. This is going to ship out next week because I want to give it a little more cure time and see if it firms up a little bit more. I may actually run another batch of it next week and send it out then. Again, playing with the pectin a little bit to get that a little stiffer, get it a little firmer. Easy, guys, family show. But I would love to send you some of the fruit gelees. It'll be raspberry. If you like raspberry, this is a good chance to try it. And then you can provide your feedback via a Jot form or a Google form or whichever one we happen to use next week. You can let me know, hey, I loved it. Or, ooh, this is the worst thing I ever put in my mouth. I don't think I'm going to hear that, but you've been warned that that's an option. I know my tastes aren't the same as everyone's taste. So this is an opportunity to get feedback and learn more about what other people like, what other people want. Maybe there's other flavors you think would be good. Besides raspberry, I'm looking at peach and mango. So these are flavors I'm thinking of for spring. Since it's 45 degrees here and it's not even the end of February, I'm thinking spring. So as always, thanks for being here. I welcome comments and feedback down below. You are always, please, you are always welcome to email info@48blocksfinecandy.com. That comes right to me. I do check the comments and I do check the feedback after all of these Foodie Friday sessions. So if there's something you'd like to hear more about or learn more about, let me know. And that means, again, I'm not operating in a vacuum, which is really, really easy to do in current times. So I will see you next week. Hopefully somebody's got a topic they want to talk about next week. Otherwise, I'm going to wing it, which I mostly do. So thanks again for being here. I appreciate the support, and I will see you next week. Have a great weekend and be safe and be kind.